I didn't know anyone who was paraplegic. I didn't know anyone who had gotten that kind of injury. It felt like this was a situation that you would read about in the news, but it never struck me that it would happen to me. I knew that I couldn't do anything to change what had happened, and I saw that I was never ever gonna walk again. So I figured, okay, I need to be strong. What's a good life for me? What's a happy life for me? A life where I have meaning, that I can do something that gives me purpose. And watching the Paralympic Games gave me this picture of these people dealing with life and overcoming it, and I could identify with it. The Paralympic Games, they are bigger than sports, because it's not about what you cannot do, it's about what you can do. And I tried it, and I totally fell in love.
The invitation to the world goes out from Tokyo.
The future of the Paralympics looks bright tonight.
If you only see the Paralympic Games, you will see the ranks. You would see who got the gold, who got the silver, who got the bronze. You will see the wins and you will see the losses, but you will not see the process. There is no wins without struggles on the way. And there is no losses without joy on the way. We were really well prepared for Tokyo 2020. The only thing I really wanted was to make sure that I was in control of absolutely every factor I could be in control of. We were in a training camp in Portugal. We were having a session with our team building coach, where she asked all of us, what obstacles can you see from now until the games in July and August, and how should we prepare for them? I wrote this list for all the obstacles we could find or see or even think imaginable that could happen, before the games. No one mentioned Corona.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious pneumonia outbreak in Wuhan city.
We've heard about this virus going around in Asia, and we all agreed that, well, it's only one more of these viruses, which we will actually not really see here.
Outside China, 3 cases have been confirmed.
It's now been named COVID-19.
The virus can be transmitted from person to person.
We have a few weeks till Paralympic trials, and it just never crossed our minds that it would actually disrupt everything.
私はその時は沖縄県の大宜味村で合宿をしていて、その宿舎のテレビで、タイムリーに見ていました。
Every major sports league in the country is calling a timeout.
When practice got canceled, I knew it was real because my coach don't cancel practice for nothing.
Postponed.
Cancelled.
Est annulé.
Suspendido.
But this is the games. There's no way. These last 4 years we've been preparing. There's no way they can cancel it for this many people.
The real question on everyone's mind is what happens to the Tokyo 2020 Games. Preparations are going on as planned.
We asked them straight up what's going on, and the only answer we got back was, we only have a plan A, and the plan A is that we're doing the games. It was absurd in the end, because everyone saw that this is not gonna happen.
The 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo and the Paralympic Games have been postponed. And for athletes at the peak of their training, the news is obviously devastating.
Tokyo 2020 organizers bowing to global pressure brought on by the novel coronavirus catastrophe.
Around the world, the pandemic has disproportionately affected persons with disability. The Paralympic Games is the only event that puts persons with disability at center stage. And this is the moment when they need their voice to be heard the most. That's why we cannot let these guys down.
I'm working 4 years to perform less than 1 minute. All our plans are gone. You have 1 more year, you have to keep the discipline, you have to keep the sacrifices, you have to keep your health. So that's why a lot of athletes just quit.
As an athlete, you train for this, you work for this, you put your entire life on hold most of the time. Like, everything goes into your sport, and all of a sudden it's gone.
More than 3 billion people in almost 70 countries and territories have been asked to stay at home.
The situation is unprecedented. The world has changed, and sport must change too.
It's really hard to reconfigure your plan like this, but I do also think that this perfectly highlights what these Paralympic athletes and the Paralympic movement is all about. And that's overcoming, that's being flexible, that's learning to adapt. And every Paralympic athlete has a story that highlights all of those traits and so many more.
It's not just a disabled athlete. It's a person with a disability pursuing a dream. We want to tell our stories. We want the world to see what we're doing. We just haven't really been given the chance yet.
Hi, my name's Kim Daybell. I'm a Paralympic table tennis player who was training towards Tokyo 2020. I'm also a doctor who is currently working in North London on a coronavirus ward.
Basically like what you see on TV. Those guys running around with shirts and chinos looking really stressed, that's me. The other elite athletes are training full-time, and I'm being a doctor full-time. And doing the two together, it seems impossible. You're just shattered from everything. You're always being pulled in different directions. It's been a big upheaval. Thinking you're going to be part of an Olympic Games to the Olympic Games being postponed it's a tough thing to take. It's not just 4 years of work. Just competing in one was the culmination of a lifetime's worth of training since I was 8 or 9 years old. I was just very lucky. I got to do it twice. Lots of people will only get one shot if they get one shot at all. And I know how badly they want to speak out and say how disappointed they are.
But I think also with everything else going on in the world at the moment, sport isn't the most important thing.
I wasn't the kid with the stethoscope around his neck when he was 2 years old or playing doctor with his toys. You know, that was never me. I never thought about it as a career, to be honest, up until I started training with the Paralympic national team. When I started working with a lot of these disabled athletes, I saw what modern medicine had done for them. We had lots of people with broken backs, with degenerative conditions, and the reason that they're even here today, let alone at the pinnacle of para sport, is because of the people who treated them and gave them that springboard, gave them that chance to succeed.
And given myself as well, obviously I was born with no fingers on my right hand, so when I was 2 years old I had a transplant, double toe transplant. They took both toes from each foot, stitched them onto my hands so that I could have opposable digits and I could grip things and hold things. And
I thought, I want to be able to give back to the community. I want to be able to aid people as people have aided me.
I just had about 10 minutes just to make this quick video. Coronavirus has kind of given the rest of the community an idea of what being disabled is like. That kind of risk that you feel to your health, especially people with degenerative conditions or waking up in the morning not knowing how you're going to feel, having that fear when you go out that something might happen to you, just generally fearing your health. So it looks like someone's coming to get me, so I better go. Thanks.
Well, if Canadians hadn't felt the coronavirus changing their lives, they have now.
Go home and stay home. This is what we all need to be doing.
A little more? Okay.
How do you do this, like, so easily?
So she's drilling, I guess. It's a good thing she's not a paid worker.
This is hard.
I don't think she'd last more than a day. Is this side button pressed? It was going backwards.
Oh. Ow. Okay, so hey everyone, my name is Danielle Kissler. I am 23 years old and I am a paraswimmer for Team Canada. With this pandemic, obviously there's a lot of uncertainties, a lot of unknowns, and it's really frustrating. For me personally, I've had a lot of setbacks in the past, but I've been pursuing this dream for 12 years, and I don't want a little pandemic, not a little, a massive pandemic, to get in the way of me achieving this dream. So I built a pool.
All right, guys, welcome to day 4 of building. We are actually going to be putting things together today.
Now you might be wondering, whoa, she looks a little bit small. It's because I am. I have something called achondroplasia dwarfism, which basically means that I'm just going to be this height for the rest of my life. And honestly, it's not a big deal. I don't think it is. And some may say that I got given the short straw to life, pun intended, but this life has been pretty incredible. I grew up playing a lot of sports. My parents never held me back, and they never let my disability get in the way of me pursuing athletics. But once everyone started getting taller, and as we grew up, I started getting left behind, and I was really frustrated by that because I got left with the people who didn't really want to be there.
Cody!
So swimming actually came along right at the peak of my frustration.
Guys, I am so pumped about this. Look at my pool.
Swimming was never a thought in my mind until this coach came up to me and he said, you know, there's something called the Paralympics, and I think you'd be really good. And then, 11-year-old D hears, I think you could be really good. I'm like, I want to try this. The coolest part about swimming and what I love the most is that the water doesn't care that I'm disabled. The water doesn't care that I'm small. It's just there. It says, well, I'm here for you. I've been swimming now for 12 years. I thought that I would have been to the Paralympics by now, but I haven't. It's been a little bit challenging, like coming back year after year and being like, okay, am I gonna invest this much time? Am I gonna put in this much work again? I haven't gotten what I want. I haven't achieved my dream. Like, are you even good enough to do that? There's always those questions, and it's mentally pretty tiring, but I just know I'm supposed to be doing this.
And so that's how that pool happened. It came out of a lot of disappointment and unknowns, and just, it came out of COVID.
I'm home. And of course, since the gyms aren't open, we're working out outside. I got RJ here coaching me. You coaching me? Yay! Okay, so this is working out during COVID. At first, it was like, oh my gosh, yes, we get another year to focus on the little things that needed more detail and attention. And now we're like over a year out to Tokyo, and I haven't competed since last November. I had to go drop my shoe off at my prosthetist. So now I have 2 different shoes on. Honey, open the trunk. No, wow! Look at my foot. So when you post on Instagram, just tag me in it.
Once we get started, it's fine. Just at the beginning, it's like social hour. I had to wait. They act like they'd never seen each other for 3 or 4 years. I've gotten kind of used to it now. I'm looking for Famita to really have a great Tokyo. I had to keep in mind that she's only been running for 4 years in her life. I think she can win the gold. I know she can break the world record. I think she's going to do very, very, very well.
I feel like I have 2 feet when I run. When I walk, I know every step that I take, and I'm very conscious about it. But when I run, my body just moves, and it's amazing. Running has meant the world to me. It completely changed my life in all the ways you can possibly think, physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. When I think about how far I have come, I could just cry thinking about how much work it actually took us. When I had my accident, waking up in that hospital, I'm like, what is my life about to be like? I had no idea at all.
Hey, what am I supposed to say?
Tell them I'm amazing.
She's absolutely outstanding, an amazing athlete, a better person. She had incredible talent. She had incredible speed. When she ran that first time half speed, I said, I know I can get her there. I can get her there. And we had rough beginning. Every race she seemed to trip, but she was still running great times.
My coach is like a second father to me. I love that guy so much. And he thinks I'm like so emotional when I talk about him because I'm like, I met him and he started training me for free. The first 6 months was like really, really hard. Just the idea of running to me was scary. So let alone him putting in all that time. Oh, can't even talk. And I'm crying by myself. This is weird. But seriously, like my whole
entire life has changed. My whole entire life is different, and it's literally because he took a chance on me. He took the time on me, and I can't even believe I'm crying right now. This is so weird. I'm gonna start stretching before they get here and make sure my eyes clear up so he never knows how much I love him.
Once we trained for like a few months, he was like, I'll just put you in the competitions, just see what's going on. And then after just 6 months, we went to Rio.
And the first major championship out of Boston, Massachusetts. For the United States, it's Famita Ayanbeku.
The atmosphere was overwhelming. I was scared, I was nervous. I was like, I really didn't know if I knew what I was doing. So it was very, very, very overwhelming.
Away first time, and Lefeur's got a much better start than Van Rijn, but Van Rijn improved very quickly in the semi-final. Then Susan going brilliantly. She's on the way. She's going to win the gold again at the Paralympic Games. It's Paula Van Rijn who wins it.
Once we crossed, and I realized people were obviously crossing before me, and I finished, and I'm like, what the heck was that? I was so disappointed. I wasn't happy with my performance, and I'm like, okay, Tokyo's my next shot. And so I was obviously really looking forward to these games. I need to get competition ready because I know if I step on that line and do everything that I need to do, I'll kill it.
The signs are all over Tokyo, symbols of what was supposed to be a Japanese revival, a comeback, crushed, at least for now. Winning the Olympic bid in 2013 brought a surge of national pride. Finance Minister Taro Aso even went so far as to call coronavirus proof of an Olympic curse. Aso was born in 1940, when World War II extinguished Japan's Olympic flame. The 1964 Tokyo Olympics, Japan's reintroduction to the world, rising from the ashes of war. Today, a new war against a deadly virus, putting Japan's dreams on hold yet again.
皆さんこんにちは。パラカヌーの瀬立モニカです。今日はここ来年の東京パラリンピックの会場、海の森水上競技場で練習をしています。めちゃくちゃワクワクしています。来年の東京パラリンピックで自分がここで輝く姿っていうのを想像すると、なんだろう、自然と笑いが出ちゃうようなそんな感覚です。今は来年までにコロナウイルスが収束して安心安全の中で素晴らしいパラリンピックが開催されることを心から祈っています。とても繊細な船で、この船は本番用に使う船なので、私のテンションも大きく変わります。今何をされているところでしょうか。
瀬立モニカ選手が船が傷ついてとても心が痛んでいるので、船とモニカの心を両方直したいと思います。
素晴らしいです。ヒーローです。負けない。1、2。でそのテレビを見て延期が決まった瞬間は、自分にとってより金メダルに近づく時間が増えたと、とても前向きに捉えていたんですが、延期が決まってから2週間後ぐらい経ってから、じゃあ今自分がやっている練習がどういうふうにどの大会に向けて目標を置いて何のためにこの練習をやっているのかっていうのが分からない時期がありました。ただ、アスリートっていうのはその目標に対してそれを実行していくっていう習慣っていうのがもう無意識的なうちに自分の中に入っていると思うんです。私の今生きるモチベーションは来年の東京パラリンピックでチャンピオンになることです。私は人に夢だったりとか希望を与えられるような人になりたいという漠然とした思いがあります。すみません、お願いします。で、鍵かけてください。はい。
令和2年度オリンピック・パラリンピック教育講演会を始めます。講演に先立ちまして星野先生がご入場されます。拍手でお迎えください。
ここ 1年生の6月ですねに学校の体育の授業で怪我をしてしまいました。で倒立をした。そしてそのまんまバランスを崩してしまって床にこう垂直にガンって落ちました。バキバキバキって言って声を出そうとしたら声が出ないんですね。全然息が吸えなくて息も吐けなくて、で私はその時に何を思ったかというと、人間ってこういう風に死んでいくんだなっていう風に。で救急車を先生が呼んでくださってそのまま病院に運ばれました。
その障害を彼女が受けた時に本当にもう毎晩泣いてたんですよね。だから彼女から「ママなんで泣いてんの？バカみたい」って言われて。でその頃よくみんなから「写真がないですか?」とかいうふうに言われるんだけど、いや一切そういう写真とかはもう撮れないんですよ。その寝てる姿とか車椅子の姿とかでパラカヌーを始めてやっと写真とかこれもしかしたら記念にとかなんかそういう形で撮れるようになったんですね。モニカが選んだんじゃなくて障害がモニカを選んでくれた。
私が2020年の東京パラリンピックで金メダルを取るということは、それを誰にでもチャンスがあるっていうことを日本の人たちに知ってもらういい機会になると思っています。私たちが諦めてしまっては、しょうがないので必ず開催されることを信じて目標に向かって進んでいきたいなと思っています。
Here in Afghanistan, there is a lockdown, but it's not strict. In a country where millions live hand to mouth, hunger is seen as a deadlier threat.
کرونا وقتی آمد در افغانستان درست است ما تلفات بسیار زیاد داشتیم. مردم ما وظیفه‌شان از دست داد، فقر رفت، بیشتر شد. اما کرونا یک راه حل داشت. وقتی ما خود ما رو وقایع می‌کردیم، وقتی ما تمام کارهایی که مهم بود انجام میدادیم، میتونستیم خوب باشیم، میتونستیم زندگی کنیم نرمال. اما طالبات نیست. تلفات کرونا به او حد نیست که ما در 2 ماه اخیر تلفات انتحاری و جنگ که طالبان در افغانستان دارن ما داشتیم. وقتی طالبان در افغانستان آمد در مجموع خب اولین جایی که گرفتن کابل بود و ما در کابل زندگی میکردیم. من 2 ساله بودم، یک راکت اولی ما خورد، تمام توتای اینمی راکت در پشت ما خورده که از 20 چندانم بیشتر بود. تمام شانیم، دستایم تا هنوز جایشان ماندن. وقتی مرا خانه آوردن درست است. من بسیار فلج شده. معلولیت من اینقدری که حال هستم بسیار شدید بود از فعلانی که من هستم. یعنی بدترین حالات زندگی من داشتم. در مجموع در افغانستان زندگی کردن به یک زن آسان نیست. ای که معلولیت داشته باشی مشکلات تو را دبل میسازه. دیدگاه مردم تا هنوز من فکر میکنم بسیار تفاوت کرده. حالا این نظر تغییر کرده که زن باید حتما در خانه بشینه. اما دیدگاه مردم آرزو دارم که تو ادامه بفکر تغییر کنه، روز به روز تغییر مثبت. قبل از اینکه کرونا باشه زندگی ورزشی ما بسیار خوب پیش میره. یعنی ما مسابقات خود می داشتیم، تمرین خود داشتیم، اما وقتی که کرونا شروع شد ما یک وقفه بسیار طولانی را گرفتیم. نو جیم، نو بسکتبال، هیچ کدامش، هیچ کس هیچ جایی نرفت. و در این جریان فهمیدم که اگر وظیفه نباشه برای من چقدر مشکلات تمام میشه. اگر ورزش نباشه زندگی من چی میشه و ای که اگر من یک روز برای همیشه خانه نشین شوم چقدر زندگی سخت است.
And fortunately, after 5 months, basketball and other sports started back in Afghanistan. We all are excited to go back to gymnasium, meet our teammates, and see my wheelchair. That I love it a lot.
بسکتبال در 2013 تقریبا 2013 شروع کردم وقتی که اولین بار تیم در کابل میخواستن یک تیم بر دخترایی که معلولیت دارن یک تیم بسازن. در ابتدا هدف ساختن این تیم ویلچر بسکتبال این بود که اون مریضایی که معلولیت دارن و در خانه هستن در اجتماع دخیل نیستن و همچنان یک دپرشن پیدا کردن در خانه و حالت روانیشان تغییر کردن.
We said, okay, if you want to play, put your name in a list. Okay, we can also put the name of the ladies, but very few of them will come. The list of the women was almost longer and it was filled faster than the one of the men. They are very determined and they really want to prove that they can do things like the boys. And they do.
اونا مسابقه داده بودن اولین بار بود میدیدیم ما کت ویلچر میدون توپ هم دریبل میکنن شوت هم میکنن. خب دخترها وقت تمرین کردن مردم از سرک تیر شد استاد شدن سعی کردن یک چیز جالب زیادشون گفت بسیار بد است شرم است زنها آمده در پیش روی کلگی بازی میکنن. از 2013 تا هنوز این شد بر ما یک بخش بسیار مهم زندگی بر کل ما. وقتی بسکتبال هستم کوشش میکنم که کل چیز فراموش کنم. آسان نیست اما چون من زیاد بسکتبال خوش دارم کمکم میکنه.
In early 2020, the US signed a deal with the Taliban.
We've had very successful negotiations. We think they'll be successful in the end.
The Taliban, in return, got the release of thousands of fighters who were in prison and senior figures from an organization with a long record of killing civilians and restricting women's rights and girls' education.
آینده فعلا بسیار سخت است. من درباره آینده فکر کنم که یعنی حد زده بتونم که آینده من کدام طرف روانه. گفتگوهای صلح ما خوب پیش نمیره. در این روزا حتی استاپ شده. ما بر صلح امید کلانی را که داشتیم او را ما فعلا از دست دادیم. میفهمیم امکان نداره. اینا چیزایی است که هر روز از خوشیای من که در جگرخونیای من زیاد میسازه. در کنار اینا من همیشه وقتی میرم کار میکنم، درس میخوانم و در پالیش ورزش میکنم، کوشش من است که یک چیزی مثبت‌تر نشان بدم. اگر کرونا شدید باشه و دوباره قرنطین شویم، این بسیار ناراحت کننده است اگه اتفاق نیفته. به خاطر که ما تمام آرزوی ایره داریم که بریم ژاپن و بریم بازی کنیم اینجا توکیو.
Athletes were due to start competing in the Tokyo Paralympics this morning, but the coronavirus pandemic means they'll have to wait another year to take part. For many Paralympians, the postponement has caused major disruption to their carefully planned training schedules.
What are we in? March, April, May, June, July, August? It's been 6 months?
Yes.
We have not competed yet. Not one competition.
But everybody else around the world is competing.
All of our competitors are competing right now.
So we're just stuck.
No competitions.
No.
Thanks, COVID.
By the time the announcement came in that the games would be postponed, to me it was actually overdue. Thankfully, they made the decision just to postpone it a year. And it seemed like things will be fully under control by then. COVID will be a thing of the past. Now, I could never have thought back then that we'd still be kind of in the midst of this.
The last thing we want is to, go to trials having not competed yet this season. Without that, you're not going to be at your best.
Lockdowns for me began in March, and at least my community, it's worse than it started. We've made no improvements. We've gotten considerably worse than ever. And to be honest, it's humiliating the way America has handled the situation. When people don't do their part to mitigate the spread of this disease, it puts the Tokyo 2021 Paralympic Games at risk. And that's just infuriating. So much work has gone into this event. And America is just not doing their part to make sure that it can happen next year. That was really challenging for me, was seeing so much of the US population just disregarding what professionals were saying. As a student who was studying science and could tell you, the course that COVID would run through the body and how it's transmitted was just so frustrating. If I don't actually believe that these games might take place, then it's incredibly difficult to motivate myself to go and train for it. Every day is more difficult, particularly when I look around and see just the state of affairs. I just hope something changes that will turn the tides of how this thing is going, because if things are as they are right now, I just don't foresee the games happening in a year.
The government has issued a stark warning that we are at a tipping point on coronavirus cases.
If everybody follows the rules, then we can avoid further national lockdowns.
The latest government figures show the daily number of new infections remains high, with 3,899 cases.
With COVID, because Lauren wasn't able to train, it was very frustrating. She was really trying to think of ways around how can she get the training, how can she ride. People who have their own horses, they can attend to the horses, they can ride. And because her horse is in Germany, she couldn't. And then we thought, okay, she can't ride, maybe she can go on a mechanical horse. And she rode a few sessions there, and then was locked down. Again, she couldn't go. When we were able to come to Germany, it was like a huge relief. But of course, time is getting on. She has a lot to catch up.
When we got here, the first thing I wanted to do was to see Sherlock. He snuggled up to me, and it's such a nice feeling to see him. I was really nervous, because I've forgotten how tall Sherlock is. So when I got on him, I was like, whoa!
Every time she does a competition, I stop breathing. I'm so nervous. I just hold my breath until she finishes a test and she's safe, because it can be a dangerous sport. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking for me.
Whoa. Oh, shit.
When she was in primary school, the physiotherapist suggested horse riding as a form of therapy, and she loved it. We never thought that she would be taking it up as a sport. We just saw it as a therapy. And the number of times that she's done well is amazing. You can't believe that she's deaf. She stops right on time with the music. In Hong Kong, she won 2 bronze medals, which we never expected. A lot of people in Singapore didn't really know much about Lauren because we were living in England. And people started, wanting to interview. It was just crazy in Hong Kong. They dressed her up in a long gown and she posed with the horse. We took one whole day to take that one shot.
Horses are amazing because they don't care whether you have a disability or not. They just see you as a human person. They give me the freedom of moving that I can't do on my own. For example, I can't dance on my own 2 feet, but with the horse, I can do that. I was hoping to do well in Tokyo, but I'm not so confident now because my training has not been consistent. I would do my best, but who knows?
Getting the medal would be the icing on the cake, but she would just try her best. She would do her best.
Okay, we just came out here to check out the beach. Way out there is Japan. Should be there in a year, so if I start swimming now, maybe I'll get there in time for the Paralympics. I think from an early age, I've never been shy of the camera. That sounds really bad, but I've always been comfortable being in the spotlight. And I think that's quite a blessing, actually, because people do stare at me all the time, even when I wish that they wouldn't. Sometimes it's nice not being stared at. Sometimes it's nice just to hop in your car, go to where you're going, and you don't have to worry about someone yelling, "Hey, midget," at you, or somebody staring at you, pulling out their phone, taking a picture, and putting that who knows where. I want the young girls coming up after me to live in a world where they don't get screamed at, they don't get yelled at, they don't get treated this way. And so how much brighter could a world be if we chose to speak up and talk about it? Because language is powerful, and I think we could all speak up from time to time and help make the world a little bit brighter. Nobody deserves to be treated like an object. Nobody deserves that. And so if I can share my experiences and someone out there changes their ways, someone out there feels less alone, that's all we can do.
For far too long, the attitude towards people with disabilities was don't look, don't stare. And the Paralympic Games are exactly the opposite. Look, stare. This is us, living very proudly who we are. It's very similar to a gay parade in that it is the one moment to celebrate our diversity. In the same sense, persons with disabilities have also been evolving the discourse. We're going away from a medical model where we were patients or punished by God to become citizens, to become subjects of rights and in full capacity to claim those rights.
Dr. King, how are things shaping up now for tomorrow? Things are shaping up beautifully. We have people coming in from all over the country.
Many civil rights movements have used sports to promote their agenda. For people with disabilities, it is not different. And in fact, it's even more powerful because when it comes to bodies that are less functional to begin with, to use those to promote inclusion, I think it's a genius idea.
What did you discuss back in the hotel room? Nothing, just friends, just like Khrushchev and Kennedy.
We do have common problems and common concerns, and above all, we are all victims of the same system of oppression.
Did Muhammad Ali help the civil rights cause of African Americans in the US? I'm sure he did. But can we measure that? How many Muhammad Alis make a Martin Luther King?
We will not permit these steps to continue to be a barrier to our rights and equality.
How much Paralympic Games are affecting the culture so that people change their attitudes toward people with disabilities? We don't know. And that, my friend, is the philosophical stone of our movement. Because if we can prove to a president of a country and tell him, hey, for every dollar you invest in Paralympic sports, you get return of that investment in rights of persons with disabilities, well, that would be a winner chicken dinner.
I was really happy when they actually moved the games a whole year, because that gave us time to calibrate and not stress about everything we needed to do before the games. But still, this Corona period has been so hard. We kept training in our apartments, just trying to make the best out of it. But I have too much energy to be able to sit still. I've been asked to do Dancing with the Stars earlier, but when you're an active athlete, it's not possible to do that. And when this Corona situation came and we were stuck in Norway and we couldn't compete, it suddenly turned out as a good alternative, you know. And it was an amazing experience. I was invited because a lot of people know who I am. I wasn't invited because I'm in a wheelchair. I was invited as me. What surprised me a little bit was that a lot of other people felt it was a big deal that I was dancing with a wheelchair. And that was a much bigger debate than I was prepared for. Because I felt I was just Birgit going to dance. In the beginning, there was a huge debate whether I should be there at all, if it was possible that I could do it. And then it turned into a debate whether I was cheating because I was dancing with a chair. A lot of people that came to me and said, well, if you're winning, it's just because people feel sorry for you. I was never allowed to just be me. Why does it always have to be about this chair? Can't it be about the dance?
In the evening when I came home, my friends started sending me messages also. It was like, don't go on internet, don't read the comments. It's really strong positive feelings connected to our dances, and it's really strong negative feelings. It's so much more controversial than I would think. It's just dance, man. Peace out.
Da tenkte jeg som, men søren heller, jeg må stå opp for alle dem som der hjemme, for de kan ikke gå på nett og lese, og de ikke gode nok, for det dem. De kan ikke gå inn og lese at dansegulvet ikke for dem, for det det. Jeg må si ifra. Her går ikke.
You have this picture of people with disabilities. You have this picture of a person who cannot walk. But that's not accurate, you know. So actually coming out there and kind of breaking down all those expectations meant that it was really worthwhile to do it.
So my manager just called to tell me that I'm, right now, the most popular female athlete in Norway. Wow. This is cool. The world is moving. The world is moving. Can you imagine what this is going to tell all little kids wanting to go for Paralympic sports? No one can ever tell them again that people don't care.
Obviously, being an athlete, it takes dedication, it takes consistency, and this COVID period, it's been hard. Today's like the election day, and no matter which way the election goes, it's gonna be crazy. You don't know if it's gonna get worse or if it's gonna get better.
Oh, we did it! We voted!
I am really, really happy, really excited. We wanted something different, and we got it. You have Biden making his speech and including disabled people.
We must make the promise of the country real for everybody, no matter their race, their ethnicity, their faith, their identity, or their disability.
It's just nice that he included us as a community in itself. Inclusion is becoming a real thing. We're here. We need to be included, and we need to be equal. And no, I don't need your pity. I don't need nobody feeling bad. I need you to give me the same chances and opportunities as everybody else because I'm fully capable.
When I think about the person I was even just a year ago, physically, in terms of my level, mentally, everything, I'm a long way from that. Seen lots of things that you can't kind of go back and see. I'd love to be there. I'll work as hard as I can to get to Tokyo, but I'm struggling at the moment to see myself winning or doing well there. The future, I guess, is still very uncertain.
We are all in the same boat. And at the end of the day, what it's going to look like in Tokyo is who is ever able to stay in the boat the longest and who is able to mentally keep it together. And it looks a little different country to country. I understand that too, but we're all processing the same thing. We're all, in a sense, going through it together.
When you go to a Paralympic Games, you're not moving in geography, you're moving in time, and you're arriving in the future. This is how the world should look, and hopefully will look, once we bring down all barriers.
What if the whole world could look at all people with disabilities like we look upon the Paralympic athletes, with respect?